Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I am Ethan Decker. Today I have Richard Byrd on the show. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing great. Ethan, how are you?
I'm good. We're recording this in World Cup season.
Yeah.
So I have got my Applied Brand Science team jersey on. I forget what number I am, but I am, my name for my team is Science AF, of course.
Perfect.
And cheering for the Orange, but they've already been eliminated. The Dutch are out.
So sad. I couldn't believe that they got eliminated already. I'm recording from Houston, Texas.
Uh-huh.
So we have some of the games playing here, and
Right.
They were a big hit in town. We have a lot in common with the
that's right.
Netherlanders and the Dutch. Drinking beer is very big in
Great.
Texas, and they loved it, and so it was really good.
That's right. The Orange crush descended upon Texas, and sadly, when they met Morocco showed up to win, and the Dutch looked like they were playing not to lose.
Yeah, it was crazy. They just were asleep for the first, 3/4 of the game, I felt like.
Well, and even their formation, they started with a 5-4-1, 5 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 1 attacker, which means all your talent is in the back for defense, not in the front to attack. So it was from the get-go, and que sera, sera, as they say.
It is, I always have that I root for, and for no particular, well, they're always weird reasons. And, I always got to root for USA because I'm an American. My wife's Italian, so I got to root for Italy.
Okay.
We're in Texas, so we used to be Mexico, so I always have to root for Mexico.
Good. Okay, quite a few allegiances you got going there.
Yeah. So it's very convenient because usually the U.S. is eliminated fairly early on.
Right. Not for the women, but for the men, absolutely.
For sure.
Yes. Well, okay, we have to talk about cover songs before we get into covering brand stuff. And today is a special episode where it's a shop talk episode because you are a fellow practitioner of the dark marketing arts. So we're going to talk shop. We're going to swap notes. We're going to talk about your expertise, and we're going to get into what the brand science might say about some of the things you're seeing in the world as you're doing your marketing work. But before we get to have that fun, we have to, unfortunately, talk about cover songs. So lay it on me. What did you bring?
Well, I brought Any Major Dude Will Tell You by Steely Dan.
Okay.
Covered by the band Wilco. And the reason I chose that is I really, I love both the bands. And I'm telling my age a little bit here. But, when I was a kid, I grew up listening to Steely Dan. My parents were big music lovers, and so it was
nice.
Kind of on in our house. And
Sames.
Yeah, and I think, the thing I love about Steely Dan is that they were these precision craftsmen in the studio.
Oh, worse than that. I hear they had a reputation for being totally anal retentive.
Oh, yeah. Vegas was renowned for that, and
perfectionist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were like that song, that track "Peg." I think a lot of people might know that song. Well, especially if they're of a certain age, they found this. They would go crazy just trying to find the right musician to do the.
Oh yeah, they burned through like a dozen guitarists and a dozen saxophonists. So do you know if they did that on Any Dude Will Tell You? Did they also burn through a bunch of musicians till Fagan found just the right tone on the snare drum? Like, exhausting.
I'm sure he did, but I think that's one of those songs to me that's just it's not an obvious song, and leave it to Jeff Tweedy from Wilco to pick that song to do a cover of all the Steely Dan songs. I think it's just it's such a nice fit. And one of the things too I think about when I was picking that song is I wrote a book called The Best Kept Secret: What Technical Companies Keep Getting Wrong About Marketing.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about your book.
And and I thought that song kind of describes it because if you think about it, it's not a famous, and Steely Dan is one of those great bands that really were perfectionist and all those things we discussed, but they didn't really have the same commercial success that other of their contemporaries that were as talented as them.
For sure. They were a critic's favorite and a musician's favorite, but they weren't like, Fleetwood Mac or AC/DC for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like they were kind of the best
Yeah.
kept secret, and I think the Any Major Dude Will Tell You is certainly one of their best kept secret songs.
Any Major Dude Will Tell You. What a hilarious title too. They're just
Yeah, it's
they're so
sad.
brainy and geeky. And you're right, because Wilco, if I'm not mistaken, they did a lot of when they recorded, they would do live in studio sessions. So instead of having the drummer lay down the track, then the guitarist lay down the track, then the bassist, they'd all stand around in a big circle and record it together, like people used to do in days of yore. Put down a record together in a room. So it was looser, it was less perfectionist. They couldn't pick, this measure of notes from the guitar and then splice it together with the next measure of notes from take 3. But yeah, Wilco is a little looser and more organic. That's a nice thing to bring to a Steely Dan song for sure.
Opposites. That's what I love about
Yeah.
it. I love when bands will. Yeah, I like to see non-obvious covers of songs.
Yep.
Wow, that's an interesting
Yep.
choice. Would they,
And yet it's still the same. They still feel like they're faithful, like they're cousins or they're roommates. They're similar enough that it's a nice classic rock vibe. They don't turn it into Baroque or punk rock or death metal, right? It's not genre jumping.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's a good cover. Good choice. Thank you, Richard. So we will put that on our Spotify playlist of all the cover songs that have been on Cover Brand. So I think it's Cover Brand Cover Songs is the Spotify playlist. You can also, of course, find it off the website, appliedbrandscience.com. I never talk about that. I never say appliedbrandscience.com. Anyway, we're going to get to your stuff next, but first, we're going to stop for a quick break. Have you ever wished all this brand science was captured in a book somewhere? Well, you're in luck. Your wishes will be granted because the Little Book of Brand Science is about to launch. Go to appliedbrandscience.com and click book to get notified when it comes out. Okay, and we are back. I'm Ethan Decker. Today we have Richard Byrd on the show. Richard, a lot of people don't know what you're up to. I will give a brief introduction, but then I want you to take it from there. Richard has done sales and marketing, consulting, and business for decades now. He runs a company called Bluebyrd, and you can find them at The Bluebyrd, and that's BYRD, The Bluebyrd, Bird with a Y.com. So you can find all of Richard's stuff there. Richard, also, you just published a book, which I'm very jealous of because I'm working on a book. Your book is called The Best Kept Secret, What Technical Companies Keep Getting Wrong About Growth. And I want to hear more about the book and more about the ideas inside the book. And then at the end, of course, we'll help people figure out where to find you. But let's get into it. Richard, is there anything else I missed in your introduction? I know you're in Texas.
I am. Yeah, I'm in Houston, Texas, and
Okay.
that's where the firm Bluebyrd is located. So we're a small firm, but of about 7 people on W-2 staff, and then a whole network of 1099 consultants we bring on that I don't have to have on payroll, whether we have the work for them or not.
Sure.
So yeah, we focus on B2B marketing. We work with mostly technical companies, just given our geography here in Houston. We have a big medical center. NASA's here, so we have a lot of aerospace. There's chemical companies, oil and gas.
So when you say technical, you don't just mean like .coms and digital companies. You also mean companies that build machinery and equipment and satellites and medical equipment, but it's all very technical stuff.
Very technical. Clients have a very high. One of our clients had a funny saying, and he said you can judge the health of any business by what their PhD to revenue ratio is. And our client has a very high PhD to ratio.
That's great. That's great. And how many microns they measure their output in,
Dark
right?
piece.
Not millimeters, microns, picometers, right?
Exactly. Those are the
Yeah,
kind of people we work with, and
that's
I kind
great.
of cut my teeth on that here in the area in Houston with those kinds of clients. I started out as a very non-technical person, graphic
Hmm.
designer, son of an engineer though,
Oh,
and
graphic design. Okay.
so I did a lot of branding work earlier in my career, and got involved in annual report. That's also
Hmm.
another thing that is showing my age. But whenever I was young, the annual
Yeah.
reports were a really big deal, and
You know, the smart companies still produce them because they're important means of communication about the health of the company.
they're really good.
And it
Back then,
signals something, right? It does. It signals that you're a mature company.
that's right. And
Yeah.
we had a client back then in the old days, and he that was really the only piece we did for them was their
Hmm.
annual report. And I said, why don't you do any other marketing or what have you? It was an oil and gas company, and he said, look, this
Okay.
is and they blew it out of the water. We spent a ton of money on their annual report, like custom
Uh-huh.
photography every year. That everything was custom, and every year we were very
Beautiful, right?
beautiful.
Great
And
printing,
we spent more time than you could ever imagine trying to select the perfect white paper for this thing.
right? How many shades of white are there? You don't know.
Yeah,
Hundreds of shades of
well,
white.
this is more of an eggshell texture. I think this is
Yeah.
more appropriate for the theme. Yeah, we would nerd it out on it,
Slightly
and
crepe.
exactly. But it was really, he said, look, this is our recruiting document. This
Hmm.
is what we recruit our people with, because they need to know how the health of the company is. This is how we get more
Hmm.
investors, all these things. So this
Right.
was a document. And I loved it because I was this young guy. And here I was working with CEOs of these major companies and helping them craft a story for the year. And maybe I had to put a little bit of a positive spin on a negative year, and all of these
Hmm.
things. So it really informed me more about strategy and how companies think about telling their story to investors and to all
Hmm.
the various stakeholders that they might have other than just customers. And then from there, I went to work for a oil and gas services company called Schlumberger, big international firm, French company,
Hmm.
and there we were. I was their global creative director, and then I really got into product commercialization work and really
Uh-huh.
nerding it on rolling out new
Right.
technologies. That was really our sweet spot there. I ran a team there, located here in Houston, and a team in the UK, and that was a real education on product marketing and product launches and product commercialization.
Right.
It
Right.
was really, really. It was my. I don't have a PhD like you, Ethan, but it was kind of my. It was my master's thesis. I
That
didn't
was
have.
your education.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. So it was
yeah.
really a lot of fun, and then from there went back into the agency world and I ran another B2B branding firm. Kind of got sucked back into that world, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. So I started Bluebyrd, and started out just a small team, just
Hmm.
me, and
Yep.
I was a fractional chief marketing officer.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about. We're going to jump ahead, just
Yeah,
briefly, because I know you and I could talk forever. Uh, we are those guys. Tell me a bit about, because it sounds like the book came out recently.
I did. Yeah, just rolled out last month in May.
Holy crap! Congratulations.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
again, I'm jealous. My book is 2 years late to getting done. Um, but I would assume that some of the core things in the book are the things you've learned over your experience and over the time you've worked with all these technical companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Don't feel
what's
bad about
the?
your book taking a long time because mine took. I always say mine took 30 years to write.
Oh Lord. Okay, yeah, yeah. All right, all right. I'm ahead of you then, but I'm behind you, but I'm ahead of you. Tell uh, Tell me a little bit about what's one of the core premises of the book. And I
Yeah,
imagine that's because you're a designer by training, you are a communicator by training, and you're working with all these technical people. So I have a hunch, but I want to hear it from you.
yeah. So it's really interesting because when throughout my career, we've been working with these technical companies. We just saw the same mistakes happen over and over and over again with
Mm-hmm.
the. They all see the world through the same lens, and I think you probably see this in your practice as well, where
Mm-hmm.
people have been working on solving this problem, and in my case, they're technical people, and they're solving these technical problems.
Right.
They
What's
are
one particular example of a technical problem? Just super briefly in a
sure.
sentence.
For instance, well, we're working with an aerospace client, and
Okay.
they're making a new ion thruster. I,
Okay. They have to design a new ion thruster for a satellite or a
yeah, for
rocket.
satellite, exactly,
Okay.
and for space
Okay,
travel,
great.
for anything, but for the immediate applications for that,
That's a
right?
technical problem. All
Very
right.
technical
I'll grant you
problem.
that.
And so
I just watched Project Hail Mary. I'm familiar with space
there you go.
problems.
There you
All
go. Well,
right.
you're in the epicenter of a lot of space work up in Colorado.
Oh, well, we are. So that's the kind of a technical problem they deal with. What is the problem you see or the hidden issue, the secret
Yeah.
that they don't get?
Well, so the initial step is they say, look, we've got to solve this technical problem, and then they do that, and then they say the next phase that they go through is they have to sell it. So they go through this
Hmm.
sales age. So they usually hire a salesperson, but really the founder's the
Hmm.
best salesperson, and all those
Sure.
things. And then they say, okay, well, this is good, and we're getting some momentum in the marketplace, but
Hmm.
now we really want to scale this, and we got to talk about it to strangers, and
Right.
that's where they really struggle is that
And
commercial drop, and they
yeah.
really suffer from what I call the curse of knowledge.
Yep.
And so what they want to do is focus on the speeds and feeds. They start selling 5 layers too deep in their sales
Yep.
process, what this is all
Yep.
about. And then it doesn't resonate with the crowd because they don't know as much as the person who is selling it, and they never will. And
Correct.
so, they really struggle to get commercial success. And that's kind of
Yes.
where we come in. And it can
Okay.
be, I kind of walk through a startup there, but it works for well-established companies, big companies, little
Sure.
companies, and they just have that curse of knowledge. It's very difficult
All the
to
time.
remember what it was like to not know something that you currently know.
I love that you say that, Richard, because I like to use the word amnesia. Marketing people, and not just like business people, we get amnesia. We forget what it's like to be a buyer,
Yeah.
even though we are buyers in the rest of our goddamn lives,
Yeah.
right?
Every day.
We buy shit all the time. Our houses are full of brands. By some estimates, you have 400 to 600 brands in your own home. If you look at your electricity and your technology and your medicine cabinet and your fridge and your closet and your garage, like, and then all the tech and um, the banking services and the insurance services, right? Hundreds of brands, and we forget how little we care about those brands
Yeah.
on the
And
whole.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's an amnesia. And what do you call it? What do you call it? The curse of too much knowledge?
Yeah, curse of knowledge.
The
It
curse of
is.
knowledge.
It is, and it's real. And I
Hmm.
think it's really interesting because the people we work with are really, really smart. I mean, we were
They've
doing
got
all the way
PhDs,
engineers and medical
engineers.
scientists and
Yep,
all these types of people. It's just who we work with in and day out.
right.
And yet they are the ones who suffer from it probably more than anyone else because
Absolutely.
they just geek out on their stuff.
Yeah, yeah. There are some great episodes of Silicon Valley that lampoon this exact
Oh, yeah.
situation, and great clips, which I'm sure people can look up. One where the creator of this tech platform is basically yelling at all of the people in the focus group for being so dumb and not understanding his tech platform. And like every hand in the focus group goes up when they say, "Do you not understand it?" Every hand goes up, and he's like, "Well, they don't get it." So you're right. It's the curse of too much knowledge, and it's so funny that yes, you experience that all the time. How do you handle it? How do you address it? How do you help marketers overcome the curse of too much knowledge, where they want to
Yeah.
tell people all about their product, and all the people want to know is, will this fix my thing? Will this
Yeah.
thrust my satellite?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you think about it, it's there's a
Right.
there's uh, a euphemism that I really like is, an engineer will tell you how to build a watch instead of trying to tell you what time it is.
Great metaphor.
And I thought, you know what, that is so true, and we just see it. And so I think we always just go
Yep.
back to let's go back. And we one game we played with our clients is, and we didn't make this up, but I came into it early in my career and I love it, is the so what game, where
Hmm.
they're like, we have 684 measurements on our new offering. Okay, so
Right.
what? And then we asked that so what 5 or 6 times, sometimes
Uh-huh.
more, before we get to it's going to be one of two things at the end of the day. You're going to save money, you're going to make more money, you're going to find more
Hmm.
oil, whatever it is.
Right.
Uh, that's
Back
the
to the
that's the
basic
the
things. Yeah.
basic.
Okay.
It's it's a really eye opening for them for our clients when we go through that, and they're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
So the so what game is one of the techniques you use.
Yeah, we love that
Yeah.
one, and it's just a good,
Yeah.
simple approach to get to the simplicity, I guess.
Right. And also the thing that we hear, I'm sure you hear it too, in marketing there is a distinction, and it's a healthy distinction between features and benefits. The feature is what is it? The ion thruster
Yeah.
uses 47 nanoparticle diameter optimizer. I'm just going to make all this stuff up because I have no clue what I'm talking about. So it's got 47 nanometer optimizer diactrics. That's a feature of the thing. What's the benefit? And this is what you're getting at with the so what. What does that do for you? What does that get you? Does it mean it uses less fuel? Does it mean it's more accurate? Does it mean it is easier to control it, or does it last longer? Right, so you don't have to replace it or worry that your satellite up in space is going to die young.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yep.
features versus benefits.
That's right.
And I'll bet you hear a lot of engineers that don't even know the difference between features and benefits.
No, they
Yeah,
they think synonymous, and as
right.
they're they're really not at all. I mean, the feature should lead to an ultimate benefit, and you might have to talk about the features, but you lead
Right.
with the benefit and say, by the way, here are the features that enable that we have, that our competitors don't have, and that's why we're a better
Yep.
choice for solving these type of problems.
Yeah. So does your so what exercise lead them to more benefit focused ideas and communication?
Yeah,
Good.
that's what we're trying to
Good.
get to, is what are the
Yeah.
real benefits to this. And one of the things that I
Yep.
think that's probably different about our clients is they have, um, a lot of times, very complex buying centers that they're selling into.
Sure.
And so maybe, I think Gartner, no, it was Forrester that published a report that said the average, B2B buying committee is 8 to 10 people.
Right.
And I would say for our clients, they're definitely towards the high end of that and even higher, because all these people
Well,
start sticking their nose in.
right. And you're dealing with satellites which cost millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. And
So yeah, this is a big deal. This is more than just buying rubber gloves for the lab,
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
exactly. And it becomes this,
Okay.
you have to think about it. They have to think about that. And also, one of the things too about that buying committee is they oftentimes have competing interests.
Right.
So what
Different
is the
people.
benefit for one person in that buying
Yeah.
committee? Another person in that buying committee may see it as a threat to their job.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so we have to get very specific with our messaging. And if you're talking to this person, you have to lead with this. So it can't be very generic feature or benefits, because
Yeah,
they
that's
can be
true.
very contradictory for each other. So kind of help map that out for them and think about
Hmm.
it from multiple stakeholders' perspectives.
That's a great point that when you deal with groups who are buying, and this applies even for the household, like three people living together who have to agree on what toilet paper to buy or what pasta sauce they're going to get for their pasta. if there are different opinions or different needs, you need to grapple with and wrestle with those different needs and therefore the different benefits that people would want out of a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Think about paper
Yeah.
products, using toilet paper. I've listened to your show, so I know you're not opposed to toilet
I
humor.
have a
But
lot of shitty jokes about toilet paper. Yes.
yeah, but so I think, toilet paper is an interesting one. Paper towels. So, for instance, the Amazon truck rolls up to our house nearly, I won't
Hmm.
say every day, but multiple times per week. And one
Sure.
of the things we have on repeat order is paper towels. My wife
Right.
really didn't care about paper towels, and I'm not super brand loyal to paper towels.
Hmm.
And I'm not really particular about toilet paper. I'm an outdoors guy. I've had to use leaves and all kinds of stuff, so I'm not
Uh-huh.
that doesn't bother me. But the
Yep.
other
Yep. Yep.
important stakeholder in this is my wife, and
Correct.
God forgive me and have mercy on me if I choose the wrong toilet paper, because I
Yeah.
won't figure the end
Yeah.
out until it's all gone. And
Yeah.
so you got to consult. I got to consult with that other buyer in the buying group.
Totally. And that brings up a great point, which is for you, where you don't care about specific features or benefits, but the relationship matters. All you want to know is, did I get the right damn product? Did I get the right brand? Is it the one with the angel on it or the one with the puppies or the one with the bears? Like that's and then is it the blue one with the bears or the red one with the bears?
Yeah,
And you might not even remember the brand.
and all the
And yeah, I'm guessing, Richard, because I haven't worked with as many technical clients as you have, there are still those levels of dynamic in these high stakes, high cost B2B committees where some people, they know things are important, but they really don't give a crap about the details. They just want to make sure they bought the right, the one with the bears as opposed to the one with the puppies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
One of in our buying committee discovery, one of the things we're big believers in workshops and bringing everybody together and talking about these things, and I call it getting everyone's fingerprints on the gun.
Okay.
And it's a really important part of our process. But one of the most hated groups in our workshops are the procurement people, because
Sure.
engineers are like, these guys don't understand anything. They're
Right.
not technical. They don't, and they're all there about price, and they just want to beat
Yep.
everybody down on price and terms and blah, blah, blah. And we also have the good fortune to have a client that is in the procurement business, and they're not
Okay.
people. I thought they were going into the meeting. I was like, oh, I've heard about you. I don't
Okay.
trust you right off the bat. There's nothing good about you people. But really, they have a lot at stake. So they're not just about
Right.
price. They give the illusion that they are because that's what they talk about.
Right.
But they can lose their jobs if they bring in the wrong vendor and approve the wrong vendor for something.
True.
So to
Their
go
ass
back
is
to
on the line too.
the toilet paper right there, the engineer is my wife, and
Yep.
I'm a procurement guy. I'm just ordering off Amazon.
Right.
I better not order the wrong thing, or else there's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's an emotional issue, there's a relationship issue, there's politics involved, and there are different levels of knowledge. And sometimes very little knowledge, but you still have to do the stuff, right? You still have to buy the stuff. And that issue of the curse of knowledge and the amnesia that comes from having too much info about your brand is just such a universal. And then when you see the exceptions to the rule, it just seems obvious, but people can't frickin' help themselves. Steve Jobs is a good example of that, right? Where his stuff was so honkin' simple,
Yeah.
and everybody talks about 1,000 songs in your pocket, whatever. For me, I love the packaging. If you look at Apple packaging, if you look at the package for their wireless keyboard, it's a photo of the keyboard.
Yeah.
That's it. And with the Apple logo, so you know which brand it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it doesn't have 300 features, 27 technical specs, a whole grid showing you the comparison across 5 levels of keyboards, right?
Oh,
And in fact, he was, even before the communication part, he was famous for killing products, killing projects. He's like, we don't need 6 mice, we need 2.
Yeah.
We need a consumer mouse and a pro mouse. We don't need 12 models of this thing or 6 versions of our chip. We need 2, a consumer one and a pro one. And even that level of simplification is just so hard for
It is.
smart people.
Well, and you bring up a great example with the keyboard. So I just bought a new Apple keyboard. I'm an Apple guy, and
Okay.
have been for a long time. And in the box is just as you described it. But go look at Logitech.
No,
The
it's the
opposite.
opposite, right?
All the features, all the things. There's an 8-point type covering the box, pointing out all these things that really, I don't, probably no one, even in Logitech, has really read all that stuff and
Yep.
thoroughly comprehended it. And bought the Apple.
Yep. Now we can't totally shit on Logitech because they're a big company.
Oh
They're
yeah,
doing well. They make good products, and as far as I can tell, they've got a good, healthy market share. I don't know if they are the actual market leader. Certainly, they might be the market leader for PC and gaming keyboards, right? But you are right. They're very complex. They're very complicated to shop for and to choose amongst. And that kind of complexity, any buyer, B2B, B2C, procurement, technical, it doesn't matter. You don't want that complexity, right?
that's right.
So one of the things I do, Richard, well, first I'll step back. The science behind this, I would say, is very simple and extremely fundamental, which is that humans are essentially what are called cognitive misers.
Mm,
We, our brains are about 3% of our body mass, but they consume somewhere around 20 to 30% of our body's energy.
no,
So imagine a third of every meal that you eat goes just to make your brain function, because your brain is a supercomputer that's massively power hungry and doing calculations all the time. And a lot of them we're oblivious to,
yeah,
like walking. We don't know how many calculations it takes to actually walk down the street and avoid other people, or driving. We're all aware of the fact that we can drive home and be oblivious to how we got there
total
because
autopilot.
our brain took care of it all.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so the brain is a massive energy suck, and it does whatever it can to be efficient. And I call it lazy because efficient is efficient or efficiently. That's 4 syllables. Lazy is 2. It's easier. Um,
You-
so the brain is lazy, and it does the least amount of work. And that whole learning muscle memory to drive home is a great example. Like it frees up your mind to do other stuff. So when you're shopping, it's the same thing. We do the least amount possible. We want to conserve energy. We want shortcuts, right? So if there's a very highly technical part, I can either go out and learn all the technical details, or I can just do a shortcut, which is which brand did I use last time that was great, and just go with that brand.
yeah,
And the brand itself and the reputation of the company itself alleviates all my thinking. It means I don't have to do all that analysis. I can just use the shortcut of being like, oh, well, I'm going to go back to um, Central Space Tech,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
Galactic Parts Limited. I'm going to go to Galactic Parts Limited. They're great. They always deliver. I don't have to think about it anymore. I just go to Galactic Parts Limited. And that is actually thinking less. So strong brands help your customers think less about the decision, which is very counterintuitive for smart
Yeah.
people.
That well, and that is I think that is the hardest thing with convincing smart people these things, is because they want to overthink things and all that on their end. But if you ask them, we
Right.
were talking to, um, I'm trying to convince people that B2B buying is all about emotion.
Oh, well, that's a real, yeah, that's a long thing to
They
convince
say,
people
well,
of.
that's, I don't
Yeah.
believe it. Richard, we're engineers and we sell to engineers
Hmm.
and we don't have emotions. And I said, really? Tell me,
Right.
what kind of car do you drive?
Okay.
BMW? Interesting. Doesn't seem like the most logical car to sit in Houston traffic in.
Right.
Uh, It's
You
a
should be
lot of
in
money,
IKEA.
and you could have got a Toyota Camry that does the exact same thing. So tell me, why did
Totally.
you make that illogical decision if you're so logical?
And do
And
they have a defense, or do they realize the
no, they know
faulty
they've been had.
ways of
They're
thinking?
like,
Okay, good.
touche, all right, you know,
Good.
let's go on. And people are making those emotional decisions, whether whether they know it or not. And I think
Correct.
one of the things we talk about is we do a lot of sales consulting as well
Hmm.
here at Byrd, and in those sales calls, people are making those business decisions on a lot of emotional things.
Yeah.
Fear a lot. Do they
Yep.
want to make the wrong decision so they don't get their bonus?
Yep.
Maybe their stakes to your decision making in any job, and when you're choosing one product
Yep.
or service over another, you're making a decision, and making the wrong decisions has consequences, and those
Yes.
affect you personally, and that
Yep.
is something that no one talks about. It's the dirty secret in B2B selling
Oh
and buying.
man.
But that's how
Yeah.
people make their decisions at the end of the day. If it's threatening
Yep.
and they think this is going to be too risky for my reputation, this is going to be risky for me
Yeah.
saving face in the organization, it's going to be threatening to my fiefdom that I've created, and that's going
Uh-huh.
to hurt my self-worth. All these things, it is a 100% emotional
Yeah.
experience.
Or you know what? And so here's the thing I've struggled with in advertising is, in the world of ads at least, the notion that an ad has to be emotional makes it feel like it's got to be some kind of Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Whereas the Apple, the beautiful, sexy packaging and the pure, crisp white and the gorgeous stores that they create, those are very emotional, but they're not like gushy, mushy emotion. So one of the things I try and also talk about is the separation between conscious and unconscious, right? Or subconscious, because it could be that the risk to your job is a logical calculation. You might fear it and have feelings about it, but there's a logical part to it, but it might just be buried deeper because you don't really want to talk about that. You want to talk about the pros and cons of the actual ion thruster,
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
so
that,
there's the logic, there's the not necessarily just the logical and the emotional, but there's the conscious versus the subconscious.
that's right. And that's where
Yeah.
we're talking about those heuristics, those shortcuts that people
Yep.
make. That is those are automatic. Those dominoes are automatically falling, whether you know it
Hmm.
and you don't realize those are that's happening to you as they're happening. All
Right.
those switches are getting flipped, and you're gonna react, and you want to use
Yeah.
that simple part of your brain, the lizard brain, to make those snap decisions that you don't want to sit there and necessarily
Yep.
deliberate on for
So
in calories.
here's a question I have for you.
Mhm.
In my line of work, I do a lot of training. I train people on the laws of brand science, and I find that, as is, intuitively makes sense, but often in retrospect or in hindsight, facts don't always persuade people. Facts don't change their minds, and facts don't change their behavior. So I have to do a lot of personal experiences around how little people think about things, how little people want to think about things, how little people know about things. So they have an intuitive, personal, and visceral experience of this curse of knowledge, right? So for instance, one of my classic quizzes, you brought it up, is toilet paper. I ask people about their toilet paper. And lo and behold, we don't know shit about the toilet paper we use every single day. We don't know where it's manufactured. We don't know whether there are any women on the board of directors or in the C-suite. We don't know if the company has a cause marketing program. We don't know the price. We don't know how many sheets per roll. I don't know how many sheets per roll. And in fact, on the pack, it also tells you how many square meters worth of toilet paper you have. Now, who the hell wants to know how many square meters of toilet paper you're buying in a bag? A
Yeah,
6-pack or a 12-pack? Like,
Maybe I accuse her of
it's
using way too much toilet paper. She might use a square meter per thing. I don't know.
yeah, and then you get to know your plumber really well too.
Exactly.
But these really smart, brainy people they don't know shit about their toilet paper, and they don't want to know more.
Yeah.
And I need to give them that visceral experience to break through the logjam of their amnesia. Because otherwise, I can give them facts about consumers and facts about features and benefits, but they won't get it. They won't realize the depth of the problem of their amnesia and the curse of knowledge until they're like, oh, right, I literally don't know the brand of toilet paper I use. And I don't want to.
Yeah.
So so this gets to my question. Do you find you have to do the same thing? Now, you mentioned the one about the car, but do you find that that's a big way in to change people's approach to marketing, is to really address their own personal lives, or to do these exercises with them?
Yes, for sure. And I'm nonstop doing that in workshops, and I like to challenge people in those workshops. I always say that my job in these workshops is to, number one, be a huge pain in your ass.
Good.
And push back on you and cajole you into thinking about things the right way.
Good.
And sharing your current assumptions of the way things work, because you're probably not right, and I'm going to be right either. But I do know something that you might not know.
Okay.
And so, I think that I always will think about the last one. The one I like to do is I do like cars, because I work with engineers and they're all car people.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's stuff they know.
Yeah, stuff they know. I'm like, walk me through the last time you bought a car.
Okay.
Your car. Yeah, you're going to drive it. Great. Yep. Who'd you talk to about that? How'd you do your research? How were you informing them that? How did the buying process go once you got to the place, or when you started buying it online? All these things, and then all these things start coming back, because you forget about the last major purchase you made and what you did to inform yourself about it, but and how you found out about the brand. Because one of the things I like about your teaching is this whole thing about mental availability, because a lot of our clients they tend to downplay brand.
Right, of course. It's all about the product.
Everybody knows our brand, but at the end of the day, we have better features than the other guy's features, and so they're going to pick ours.
Our mousetrap's a better mousetrap.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they would have been right, they wouldn't be talking to me in the first place. They would have just sold a better mousetrap, and so it's really interesting to help walk them through what they did and how did they first become aware of that. And people don't realize how they became aware of things, and all those touch points that they saw, they came in touch with before they even realized that they had those brand impressions, that they formed that awareness of the brand. And the thing I always tell them is, I know you have a great product, you have a great company, you have great people, all these things, but people don't buy things from people they don't know. It's hard to get invited to an RFP process if no one knows who you are. So you have to have that brand awareness layer out there. That everybody is in digital marketing era. They're like, oh, we don't care about brand awareness. Why are we spending all this money on brand awareness? We didn't get any leads from that. And I'm like, guys, of course not, because it's a brand awareness layer. And as soon as we turn that off, all these other channels, the other campaigns we have, they're going to fall off too, because without that brand awareness layer, people aren't going to know about you. They're going to have that availability in their mind to think about your brand.
Right. And then so you could even tee them up with a two-step thing. Step one is, if you're talking about cars, or pick something else like watches, right? Something maybe adjacent, like vacuums, that might be technical or mechanical, that these guys might be into. And you say, great, name all the brands of vacuum you know. And then you could show the other 10 brands that they've never heard of.
Yeah.
And then ask them, well, which ones are you more likely to buy? And lo and behold, we are generally more likely to buy from brands that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
You know what might be a good example is like audio equipment, like stereos or Bluetooth speakers. And so you've got JBL and I don't even know, the Shure, right? And Audio-Technica and maybe a couple others, and Bose, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got 20 no-name brands from Amazon that are like Mixaplix and Gaspoob and Fleablop, right? All these generic names now, and ask them, which brands are you more likely to buy from? And they'll instantly, of course, choose the ones that they're familiar with. And then you could show them the map of their own category.
Yeah.
And say, okay, so you're a brand that creates ion thrusters for satellites. How many other brands are out there producing the same thing? Well, here's the whole universe. Maybe there's 12, maybe there's 16, maybe there's 22. Your buyer only is familiar with 3 or 4 of them, just like you're only familiar with 3 or 4 Bluetooth speaker brands.
Yeah.
And you're likely to buy Bose, and they're likely to buy the brands they've heard from. So you need to go from this outer asteroid belt into the inner place where you are actually one of the planets. Maybe that's a good metaphor. How about that metaphor? Do you want to be in the asteroid belt of generic brands no one's heard of? Or do you want to be Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, Venus, the brands people have heard of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Okay. I might steal that idea.
Yeah, go for it.
From me.
Go for it.
You.
I like it. It's a yeah, I think that is it's a good analogy for that, because I do think that is something that these very logical people, they want to skim right past it, and really it's the first step in your building block to
it really is
become aware and scale your company.
Yeah, good stuff, man. We might need to have a follow-up episode, because I'm sure there's more for us to talk
about this stuff all day long.
Yeah, great. I am very excited to dig into your book, which again is where is it? I had it up. The Best Kept Secret.
Yeah, The Best Kept Secret.
Yep. What technical companies keep getting wrong about growth. Just came out. You can buy it wherever you can find your books, or maybe even go to your library and ask them to purchase it. I'm a big library guy these days.
There you go.
If you want more from Richard, you should go to thebluebyrd.com. That's Bird with a Y, thebluebyrd.com. Richard, are you also on any other places where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm big on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you can find me there. And it's Byrd with a Y, British spelling, Byrd.
Richard
so, yeah,
Byrd.
Find me there.
Byrd. Okay. Yeah. We will cross paths on LinkedIn, I'm sure. Hopefully we'll cross paths in person, maybe up here in Colorado or down there in Texas.
Yeah, I would try. I always try to get up to Colorado in the summertime to escape this Texas heat.
All right.
And on the trail.
Well, I'll steer you to a good speakeasy, I know.
All right. All
have
right.
a cocktail.
Thanks
for talking to me. Absolutely. And we'll talk more soon. Thanks, Richard.
All right. Thanks.
So listen, brand science works best when it's a team sport. If you want your crew rowing in the same direction, call me to learn more about workshops, trainings, and talks, for your company. Head to appliedbrandscience.com to learn more. Oh, you're still here. So am I. Look at that. The show's ended, but yet here we are. Look, if you've come this far, you're the best. And to thank you for being the best, we'd love to send you some Frelk and Science AF stickers. So if you'd like some, send your mailing address, of course, your name too, and also your favorite superhero to info@appliedbrandscience.com, and we'll hook you up.